How's it going, my friends? I'm Skwizzit. Can you beat Pokemon Platinum version with only Bidoof? I might be able to pull this off, but it's going to take a lot of strategy, preparation, and a little luck. I know others have taken on this challenge before, but I wanted to try it for myself. Maybe our strategies are a bit different? Who knows? For this to be considered a challenge, I've given myself a list of rules. Number 1, I can only use Bidoof in battle. Number 2, other Pokemon can be used outside of battle for the sole purpose of HMs. Number 3, no items in battle. And finally, number 4, no glitches or exploits. First things first, I swapped out Turtwig with Bidoof. Doing this forces my rival to take Chimchar, which I thought would be the hardest to beat since it becomes part fighting type. With that, now's a great time to talk a little bit about Bidoof. Bidoof is a pure normal type Pokemon with incredibly mediocre stats. It's basically the Rattata Generation 4, so it's not good at all. Bidoof's highest stat is its HP at 59. I'll let that speak for itself. All of Bidoof's other stats are at a base of 45 or lower. With terribly low attack stats and incredibly sluggish speed, it's easy to say that this is a bit concerning, but it'll have to do. Hopefully. The moves it's able to learn by level up are surprisingly not as bad as I'd expected. Early defense curl rollout shenanigans seem like my best option in dealing with Rourke. Other setup moves like Amnesia and Curse could also be good options. Attacking moves Bidoof could learn by level up aren't too great though. But the fact that it could learn Superpower is hilarious to me. I'll probably end up abusing the setup moves, no doubt. The TM list is actually quite impressive. Well, when it comes to Bidoof at least. It can learn crazy things like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Shadow Ball. Luckily enough for me, in Platinum, I have access to the TM for return almost immediately, so at least I'll have a good stab move when we start to build friendship. I team up with Bidoof thanks to Professor Rowan and nicknamed this beautiful god of a Pokemon, Potato. It is now time to conquer Sinnoh, become champion, and rule the region with an iron fist. But first, let's take a look at Potato's stats. The only juicy detail that I really want to share here is Potato's ability, Simple. This is a pretty crazy ability that doubles a stat increase or decrease. This is a double-edged sword, of course, which can be scary at times. For example, if I use Defense Curl, instead of getting +1 in defense, I'll get +2, which is massive. On the other hand though, if an opposing Pokemon uses something like Growl against Potato, she'll be at -2 attack instead of -1. I should be in for a wild ride because of this ability. Time to start conquering Sinnoh, with Rourke being my first victim. Going into the battle with Rock-type Gym Leader Rourke, I figured my best strategy would be the tried and true Defense Curl plus Rollout combo. Rourke leads with Geodude and I start setting up Defense Curls to stop incoming Rock throws from doing way too much damage to Potato. After having a few Defense Curls under my belt, I start hitting Geodude with a ton of Rollouts. Rollout is a Rock-type move, so it's not very effective against Geodude thanks to its Ground typing. The silver lining here is that Rollout lasts for 5 turns in a row and doubles in power with each consecutive turn as long as Potato doesn't miss. If Potato misses, Rollout resets. Eventually Geodude does go down, but Onix comes in, and Onix has a really high base defense stat, which is terrible, because he also resists Rollout, being a Park Ground type Pokemon. With that, I'm getting pelted with a ton of rock throws. They're not doing that much damage, but after I miss and Onix gets healed by Rourke's potion, it's game over. I have to try again. Attempt number 3 versus Rourke goes way better, and let me tell you, most of these major battles do take 3 or more attempts in this run. It's crazy. I start by setting up 3 Defense Curls. This puts Potato's defense at +6, which is insane because of its ability Simple. Instead of +1, it gets +2 with each Defense Curl, maxing out its defense. This time, Rollout's doing enough damage, and I've built up enough damage to where Rourke then heals up Geodude with a potion. That's bad, but 2 more Rollouts are going to take it down. Whew! Sweaty. Next up, whoa, it's Onix! Unfortunately for myself, I do have to start building up Rollouts again. That way I'm actually putting a dent in this Pokemon, because this is nuts. The silver lining here is that I am at +6 defense, so Onix's rock throws are only doing 1, maybe 2 damage each time it hits me. After Rourke heals Onix with a potion, I'm finally able to take it out with one last powerful Rollout. Leveling up gives me access to Headbutt, which is awesome, finally a good stab move as Cranidos comes in. Cranidos is probably Rourke's least threatening Pokemon, and I know that sounds unusual, but it doesn't have that ground typing, so Rollout is neutral. 3 Rollouts in a row takes down Cranidos. Now, it's time to go to the Windworks and take on Mars. Commander Mars leads with Zubat as I send out Potato. Zubat hits Potato with a Toxic, but luckily I'm holding a Pecha Berry, so it gets rid of that poison immediately. After setting up a Defense Curl, I then go for a rollout that almost takes Zubat down in one shot. I'm impressed. Another follow-up rollout does take Zubat down, and now it's time for the ugly threat. Purugly. Purugly comes in and immediately fakes me out, stopping me from producing strong rollouts, so I have to restart. Purugly is pretty scary, but luckily I set up that Defense Curl earlier against Zubat. Another rollout takes it down, and that's it for Commander Mars. Yeah, this wasn't my first attempt, but it was my second attempt. Time to move on to Gardenia. Before making it to Gardenia, I did end up teaching Potato Return, a fantastic stab move that does some pretty good damage. Potato's also level 27 at this point, so she's not doing too bad. After a Super Potion, Turtwig does go down to a combination of Headbutt and Return. Cherrim comes in, and this is where it gets pretty bad. Magical Leaf is just doing way too much damage, so I go down quick. I definitely need a different plan. After Potato hits level 29 and learns Amnesia, I come back for round 2. Having Amnesia makes all the difference in the world during this battle. Amnesia raises a user's special defense by 2, which effectively doubles the stat. With Potato's ability Simple, Amnesia will always triple her special defense stat. Now, I could take Grass Knots and Magical Leafs like a champ. On top of all of that, I still have Defense Curl in my arsenal. These two moves will make Potato a juggernaut. I mean, look at this damage from this Razor Leaf. Pitiful. I hit Turtwig with a return that does a little over half. Razor Leaf hits Potato and, doesn't do much, so another return takes it down. The fortunate thing here, not unfortunate, but the fortunate thing here is look at this Magical Leaf damage. Also pitiful thanks to Amnesia. Amnesia is crazy. I think I have a great thing going on here. 3 returns take down Cherrim. Last but not least is Gardenia's Roserade. Unfortunately now, this Roserade comes out and immediately hits Potato with a Stun Spore, paralyzing me. Return did great damage, but unfortunately Roserade is holding a Citrus Berry. Magical Leaf does almost nothing to Potato, but after another return, Roserade is healed by a Super Potion. 2 more returns though will take down Roserade. Luckily, I never got fully parried, and that's the end of Gardenia. Now it's time to rescue the bike store owner. Commander Jupiter is holding the bike store owner's Pokemon hostage, so she leads with Zubat as I send out Potato, and I start tanking up with Amnesias and Defense Curls against her Zubat because Zubat sucks. I will say though, she has a Skuntank in the back, and that thing is scary. That's why I'm setting up all these Juggernaut Defense Curls and Amnesias. So Zubat's not doing anything, and a rollout's gonna take down Zubat in 2 shots. It does crit me though, that hurt really, really bad. Ugh. Crits ignore your stat increases, by the way. Skuntank comes out and hits me with a Night Slash. I hit it with a rollout, doing a ton of damage. It pops its Citrus Berry and heals up, but luckily it doesn't get a crit, and I knock it out with another rollout. Your Pokemon are now safe, Mr. Bike. Now give me a free bike so I can battle Fantina. The battle with Fantina goes way too well, and I'm nervous because I know something wrong is gonna happen later. I mean, Bidoof versus a Ghost-type gym leader? It should have spelled disaster, but it doesn't. I dodge a Will-O-Wisp, and rollout knocks out Duskull after only 3. I do take a Future Sight, but I'm not too worried about that. Haunter also misses Hypnosis, so it goes down to a rollout as well. Last is Mismagius, and oh my gosh. This Psybeam confuses Potato, but I break through confusion and knock out Mismagius with 1 rollout. What is happening? What a crazy gym battle. In Veilstone City, and just before attempting to battle Maylene, I go to the Game Corner prize exchange to pick up a Silk Scarf. This will boost my normal type attacks. Fighting type gym leader Maylene. This one should have been brutal and scary, but again, it wasn't. Just like Fantina, this one went pretty smoothly. I did wait till Potato was level 45, that way I had access to Curse and Superpower. Curse is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm never going to get rid of it because it's that crazy. What it does is it lowers your speed by 1 stage, but it also increases your attack and defense both by 1 stage as well. With Simple as Potato's ability, like I've said before, it doubles those stat changes, so speed goes to -2, but attack and defense both go to +2. And that's all it takes. I did take quite a bit of damage from Meditite and Machoke, but they both go down easily. Last but not least is Lucario. It hits me with a Force Palm, luckily not getting the paralysis, and it goes down to 1 superpower after all those curse boosts. Absolutely ridiculous, but I take those. Water-type Gym Leader Crasher Wake, the first wall in the run, and that's due to his lead Pokemon Gyarados. It has Intimidate, and what Intimidate does is it lowers my attack by 1 stage. With Potato's ability Simple, I automatically start at -2 attack right off the bat during this battle. Potato's stats are really bad, we went over that, it doesn't come as a surprise. But, at level 48, Gyarados still outspeeds her and hits her with the waterfall. And it does massive damage, and that's concerning. But not only that, it also gets the flinch, so Potato can't move. I go for a curse as it goes for another waterfall, but this time, more unfortunate news, this waterfall crits and takes Potato down immediately. I need to come in with a game plan on the next attempt. I need to account for waterfall flinches, critical hits, and I really need to outspeed Gyarados to set up a curse. That way when Gyarados does go for a waterfall, it doesn't do as much damage. It doesn't get better for a long time. Several insane Crasher Wake attempts later, I wisen up a bit and head to the Veilstone department store to pick up the TM for Thunder. If Thunder actually hits, it may be able to one-shot Gyarados. Whew, let's give it a shot. Much more attempts later. Like, I'm talking several. I wrote down Crasher Wake attempt number infinite. But a Thunder lands on Gyarados, and it does knock it out in one shot. I mean, I am level 60, I did have to outspeed it, so that's why I'm so over-leveled. But a Thunder hits Floatzel and knocks it out in one shot too. I don't know if the crit mattered there. Last but not least is Quagsire. Quagsire is water and ground, so Thunder won't hit it. So I start setting up curses. He hits me with a Mud Shot, lowering my speed. I'm already doing that with Curse, so I don't care. But then a Yawn comes in. And now I have to go for the return. Hopefully one-shot this thing. I am at +4 attack, so one return does take it down. This was brutal, but I'm glad it's over. Here's another not-so-fun battle for Potato and I. The first battle with Cyrus. He leads with Sneasel, and this is the issue. He hits Potato with Screech, and instead of lowering my defense by 2 stages, it lowers it by 4 stages, making my defense stat pitiful. So I start setting up curses, but he's mitigating that by using Screech, and I'm taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back at this point. This is not my first attempt at Cyrus, by the way. This is my third. I take down Sneasel. Golbat hits me with a Confuse Ray, I break through Confusion, and take down Golbat with a return. And last but not least, he sends in his Murkrow. I'm still confused, but luckily I break through Confusion after a huge Drill Peck lands on Potato and knock it out with a return. This was not fun, but we got through it. I make my way into Canalave City, and it dawns on me that I'm going to be going up against a Steel-type gym. So I go back to Pastoria City, and I go to the Move Relearner. I go, hey, where you going, Skwizzit? Go, yeah, that way. Come on, man. Pull it together. Go to the Move Relearner, and I desperately need to get Superpower back to hit those Steel types. So, I get rid of Thunder and learn Superpower again. All is right with the world, and I can move on. Let's try Byron out. Steel-type gym leader Byron. That's Rourke's daddy. He leads with Magneton, and I send out Potato. I don't want to get hit by Metal Sound from Magneton, so I immediately go for a Superpower and take it down. Metal Sound would drop Potato's defense by 4 stages because it's simple and I don't want to deal with it. Steelix comes in next, and this is my opportunity to set up some curses. He sets up a Sandstorm, that's going to whittle me down over time. Then he hits me with a decent Earthquake. This does a fairly decent amount of damage, but I set up another curse to mitigate that damage. I think the AI knows that my defense is pretty high, so Steelix goes for a Flash Cannon. That deals a decent amount of damage too. After one more curse, I'm feeling comfortable enough to hit Steelix with the Superpower. I do take another Flash Cannon, and the Sandstorm damage is taking its toll on me. But 1 Superpower is enough to take down Steelix. Last but not least, Byron has his Bastiodon, a physical and special juggernaut. Just a lot of defenses going on there. Bastiodon outspeeds and hits with a Stone Edge, but I live on 2 HP, and I'm able to take it down with 1 Superpower. That was uncomfortably close, but I'll take a first attempt Byron any day. Next up is Candace. Before battling Candace, I do want to make a couple preparations before I get completely annihilated by her ice types. First things first, I fly over to Pastoria City and go to the Move Relearner to relearn Amnesia. Amnesia should be a huge help when it comes to those incoming blizzards and Abomasnow's Focus Blasts. Otherwise, those Focus Blasts would completely destroy me. The second and last thing I want to do is grab the Metronome item from the Game Corner Prize Exchange. If you don't know what the Metronome item does, it's a held item that powers up your attacks as long as you're spamming them. You can't switch attacks while you're doing this, and I'm going to be using Rollout, so it's perfect. Now with the preparations complete, it's time to attempt the battle with Candace. Ice-type Gym Leader Candace. Now this battle pretty much goes as I expected. She leads with her Sneasel, and what I do is I use this Sneasel as fodder to start setting up defense curls and amnesias in preparation for her following Pokemon. Sneasel is undoubtedly the worst Pokemon on her team. She's not doing very much with feint attacks, especially after setting up a couple of curses. Those curses then allow me to set up a pretty free amnesia, put my special defense at +4. Now I could definitely take a Focus Blast better and Blizzards. I finally decide I'm bulky enough and I take down Sneasel with 1 rollout. Abomasnow comes out and its ability causes the hell to start. This does do residual damage, but I'm not too worried about it because it's not like Sandstorm. 1 rollout is going to take it down too. And I'm telling you, that Focus Blast from Abomasnow did absolutely nothing. But anyway, next up is Frostlast. She comes in and hits me with a solid Blizzard. Honestly, didn't do too much. And then goes down to another Rollout. Rollout is king. Rollout is the best strat for these ice types. Last but not least, Candace has a Piloswine. Rollout is neutral against Piloswine as it is a ground type. I eat this Earthquake, living with 10 HP, and I'm able to take it down in one shot. Easy money. It's time for Cyrus again. Cyrus battle number 2 at the Galactic Headquarters was just way easier than my first battle with him. I don't know why, it should be harder, but it's not. I end up not going for setup moves, but instead going for rollouts right off the bat. I mean, all 3 of his Pokemon are weak to rock type attacks, and Sneasel doesn't end up going for Screeches, so this is looking good. Sneasel goes down to 2 rollouts, Crobat comes in, eats 1 rollout on a sliver of red, heals up with a full restore, and then goes down to the 4th rollout, leaving me with 1 more rollout in this succession, which is perfect for Cyrus's last Pokemon, Honchkrow. Honchkrow comes out and immediately goes down to a rollout. You love to see it. My first major battle without having to set up. I believe next is another Cyrus battle. That sounds about right. Just a quick little fun fact before the next battle, this is my first time ever playing through Pokemon Platinum version, and it's with a Bidoof only. So, I saw the Distortion World right here, right now, for the first time, and it is freaking awesome. Anyway, fun fact aside, it's time for another Cyrus battle. Here goes Cyrus again, but this time I was blown away by the team he has. All those Pokemon are crazy, and this was really hard to deal with. I assure you that this was not my first attempt. This is the attempt where I succeed, but there were plenty of failures. Had I left all those failures in, this would have been way too long for anybody to be comfortable with. The issues that I ran into during this battle were his Houndoom, which burnt me with Will-O-Wisp, and even burnt me with some flamethrowers, so I ended up giving Potato a Rostberry to immediately get rid of the burn. That's my only saving grace. The second issue is his Gyarados somewhere in the back, and it has Intimidate. That puts me at -2 attack, so I have to set up a bunch of curses. Luckily enough for me in this attempt, I do make it past that Houndoom without getting burnt twice. I did get burnt once, but I did have that Rostberry, which again was my only saving grace. It kind of boggles my mind that at this point in the game, Cyrus chooses to have a whole team of Pokemon that are all weak to rock. I mean, I won't complain because Rollout definitely did its job. I do end up switching to Returns on his Weavile. Return does take down Weavile in one shot. Last but not least is his Crobat. I think I switched up to Return, that way I didn't miss with Rollout. Plus, I was dangerously low on HP, so I didn't want to fail this battle when it was looking this good. With Crobat down, that's the last we'll see of Cyrus. Now, it's time to kill Satan. You know, now that I'm narrating this, I'm not really too sure why I kept this in, but I have a hunch. I think this was just so cool, seeing it for the first time, that I had to keep it in. Here's the battle with Giratina. Obviously, Giratina outspeeds Potato, but it only goes for Ominous Wind and it doesn't affect Potato. It's a Ghost type move. I want to be safe anyway, so I set up Amnesia and Curse. Then it only hits me with 1 Ancient Power and 1 Dragon Claw, I believe, and it goes down to a bunch of rollouts. It really didn't pose a threat, but I thought I'd keep it in here. I am so sorry, Giratina. Die? Ah, the last gym leader. Electric-type gym leader Volkner leads with Jolteon, and he immediately hits Potato with the Thunder Wave. You hate to see it. The good old yellow color. Anyway, I set up 2 Amnesias to max out my special defense. Then after that, I go ahead and set up some curses to raise my attack and regular physical defense. I do believe strongly that the AI absolutely knows your defense and special defense, because Jolteon should really be going for Thunderbolts here and not Iron Tail. Either way, I'm comfortable enough with my Juggernaut status after those Amnesias and Curses that I hit it with a Return after a bunch of paralyses in a row. I'm looking really unhealthy as Raichu comes out. He nails me with a Focus Blast, but thanks to Amnesia, it doesn't do that much. Luckily, after that paralysis, Raichu misses a Focus Blast and goes down to a single Return. Next, out comes Electivire. It hits me with a solid Thunder Punch, but of course because of Curses, it doesn't KO me, and I take it down with a Return 2. Last but not least, Volkner sends in his Luxray, his trump card. It hits me with a Thunder Fang, lets me survive on 6 HP, I don't get paralyzed, and I take it down with a singular Return. That is all 8 gym badges. Time to move to the Elite Four. Here's a quick look at Potato's stats just before the Elite Four. I hit level 90 after some heavy grinding sessions, and now I feel semi-comfortable going into Elite Four. Before then, it just didn't seem like a feasible option. Stats weren't high enough and it was looking pretty bad. Now, every stat is at above 100, which is pretty great. I mean, it's passable, so I'll give it my best shot. Let's do this. First up is Bug-type Elite Four trainer Aaron. Aaron leads with his Yanmega and starts going for double teams. I take this opportunity to set up an Amnesia and boost my special defense. I know Yanmega has a lot of special attacks such as Air Slash, but he does have access to U-Turn. U-Turn is a physical attack and it's stab, so I have to switch it up between Amnesia and Curse. U-Turn does come out, so he swaps out, dropping all those double teams he just spammed, and Heracross comes in. Luckily, I spammed those curses before it came in, and Stone Edge doesn't get a crit. Heracross then goes down to 1 return. Next out comes Vespiquen. Vespiquen immediately goes for a defend order, raising her defense and special defense. This is the only reason she lives this rollout. Then Aaron's able to heal it with a full restore, but that's just not going to save its life. Rollout is able to take it out on the next hit. With Vespiquen down, Yanmega comes back out and goes for a U-turn right away. Switching out to Scizor. Scizor caught me off guard. I didn't know he had a Scizor. Luckily, a rollout takes it down in one shot. Next up is Drapion, his only non-bug type Pokemon, but rollout takes it out in one shot anyway. Last is Yanmega, his lead Pokemon. Interesting. He hits me with a Bug Buzz that almost takes me down, but rollout connects and takes it down in one shot. That got a little too close for comfort. On to the next one. Second in the Elite Four is ground type trainer Bertha. This one was interesting because I lost quite a few times. But with this one, I went for Amnesia first because I know Whiscash likes to go for Earth Power. I tank it, and I really need to set up 3 curses to get to +6 defense and +6 attack for her later Golem and Rhyperior. I suppose I should mention too that I had 5 rare candies in my bag that I picked up along my journey. I had to use them, all 5 of them, because I needed a one-shot Golem. Anyway, I end up setting up my last curse that I need. Sandstorm is an annoyance, and it's whittling me down slowly but surely. She hits me with an Earth Power after my last curse is up, and I hit her back with a return and drop her. Next up is Gliscor, as a Sandstorm is still up. Luckily, I have a Citrus Berry, and Potato heals up 1/3 of her health. Gliscor goes for a soft Earthquake, not doing too much damage, and she goes down to 1 return as well. The Sandstorm finally subsides as Hippowdon comes in and sets it back up with its ability. Yawn hits me, so I go for a return and knock out Hippowdon in one shot. Yawn is terrible. I'm not looking forward to going to sleep. She does have 2 more Pokemon, so I'm definitely going to sleep. Golem comes in and hits me with an Earthquake immediately, not doing too much damage. I hit it with return, but it lives on a sliver of red health. I then fall asleep because of Yawn. Golem gets healed up with a full restore. I'm asleep, taking damage from Sandstorm, and I get hit with another Earthquake. Luckily it doesn't crit, or else I'd be screwed. I wake up, and I do one-shot Golem this time with a return. Let's go. Last but not least is her Rhyperior. Bertha's Rhyperior is even tankier than her Golem, so 1 return isn't going to take it down. Rhyperior has a Citrus Berry, so it heals up 1/3 of its HP, and Sandstorm keeps going. I'm down to 29 HP. Earthquake hits me and it leaves me with 1 HP. Let's go, so I can take down Rhyperior in 1 more return. Whew, the hardest battle's out of the way. On to the next one. Third up is Fire-type Elite Four trainer Flint. This is my 4th attempt, so don't let me fool you. Houndoom sets up a sunny day as I set up an Amnesia. Houndoom's incoming Flamethrower, boosted by the sun, still doesn't do that much thanks to Amnesia. I then set up some curses, just so my rollouts could do more damage and I take less from this Pokemon in the back that use physical attacks like Infernape. Now why did this take me 4 attempts, you may ask? Well, it was hard getting past Houndoom, just like the final battle with Cyrus, without getting burnt. Finally, Houndoom does go down when I feel comfortable enough with my stat boost. Next up is Infernape, and he hits Potato with a Flare Blitz, knocking her down to her Citrus Berry, which restores 1/3 of her HP. 1 rollout isn't going to quite take down Infernape, so Flint uses a full restore, and the next rollout does take it down. Next up is Flint's Flareon. This thing was kind of a nuisance because it immediately comes out and Will-O-Wisps Potato, burning it, having its attack stat. Luckily, I had enough built-up rollouts and stat boosts that being burnt really wasn't an issue. Rapidash comes out and hits me with a Flare Blitz, but it goes down to a rollout as well. Last up on Flint's team is Magmortar, and I'm not sure what he was thinking, but when Magmortar comes out, he goes for a Solar Beam that's not even in the sun. A stab move would have done way more damage. So he gives me a free chance to build up a couple of rollouts to take it out. Solar Beam does nothing, and the second rollout takes down Magmortar. Interesting, Flint. On to the next one. Psychic-type Elite Four trainer Lucian. Now I'm not going to spend too much time on him because he was definitely the easiest of the 4 Elite Four trainers. This was ridiculously easy. First, I set up Amnesias as Mr. Mime goes for Light Screen and Reflect. After that, Mr. Mime hits me with psychics that don't do much, and I set up curses for the Galley that's in the back. After setting up all those boosts with amnesia and curses, it's just a sweep with return. There is no threat here. His team is it's just not threatening. Everything goes down in one return except Bronzong at the end because of its steel typing, so I suppose that's the biggest threat. But even with that being the case, it only sets up one Calm Mind and then hits me with one Psychic that does pitiful damage, so naturally I'm able to take it down with 2 returns. That's it for Lucian. Let's head to Champion Cynthia. Champion Cynthia. I have to say right off the bat that Cynthia didn't give me nearly as much trouble as Bertha. Now, I'm not saying this battle was easy because it definitely wasn't. What you're seeing here is attempt number 6 or 7. The issue I ran into was her lead Pokemon, just like many other battles throughout this journey. The problem was that her Spiritomb spams Dark Pulse, and Dark Pulse has a small chance to flinch Potato. Honestly, other than that flinch chance, Spiritomb is amazing setup fodder. After getting up to +6 in all 3 stats I needed to get up to +6, I then go for a rollout and hit Spiritomb, dealing about half her HP in damage. Lucario swapped out in place of Spiritomb, and it doesn't take very much damage from rollout because it's quad resisted. Fortunately, it goes down to red HP, gets healed by a full restore, and the very next rollout takes it out in one shot. That's good news for me. Next is Togekiss. Togekiss comes in and hits me with an Aura Sphere, but my special defense stat is so high it doesn't do too much damage. I then heal with my Citrus Berry and KO it with one rollout too. After Togekiss goes down, next up is Big Bad Garchomp. Garchomp goes for an Earthquake, and I bet you've never seen it do like 5 damage to a Bidoof before. Return then takes it down in one shot, because I have all 6 Curse boosts under my belt. Milotic comes in and suffers the same fate as Garchomp, going down to a singular return. Life is good. Spiritomb is coming back in again for some revenge. It hits Dark Pulse and flinches Potato all at the same time. Luckily, the next one doesn't flinch her, and rollout KO Spiritomb. Last but not least, Cynthia has her lonesome Roserade. Roserade goes for a Sludge Bomb, and it doesn't do that much damage, and one rollout takes it down. Let's go! Champion! Damn, the Elite Four was brutal. With the defeat of Champion Cynthia, Potato the God slides into the Hall of Fame by herself. This run was actually pretty fun. Coming up with strategies and having to switch up my movesets for certain battles made it super interesting. It was very difficult at times though. Part of me wishes that you could see my live reactions to some of these battles. I'd have to say the top 5 battles that I had some actual trouble with in order from least difficult to most difficult had to be Cyrus 1, Crasher Wake, Cyrus 3, Cynthia, and finally Bertha. They were pretty tough. I am open to suggestions. If you want to see a specific challenge run, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know which Pokemon you would want me to use and which game you want me to play through. Also, check out my Pokemon Challenge Run playlist, link will be in the description. There's more there and plenty more to come. I also have a tip jar link in the description as well. If you would like to leave a tip, thank you very much. If not, don't sweat it. Never feel obligated to leave a tip, but if you do, it's incredibly helpful and super appreciated. If you enjoyed this crazy journey, hit the like button. It helps a lot. Comment down below, even if it's just for the algorithm, and subscribe to stay up to date with what I have going on, along with my newest Pokemon challenges. I've been Skwizzit, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.